But isn't insurance supposed to do that? Isn't insurance supposed to give you peace of mind? With other people jumping in to say it is your fault because your vehicle is bigger, all that thing happens.
Unfortunately, one of the incidents which happened out there was that one of our insured car hit an army man on the road.
So you're speaking Greek to me. You explained what ITV
Okay.
and IBC and ICU or all that you said. What does it actually mean?
And then, like you said, right, you can buy a sunroof out of it.
Okay, hi Animesh. So, with all the number of cars that are there on the road, vehicles that are there on the road, one of the most funny, sad, at the same time unfortunate scenario is when two cars get into an accident or two vehicles get into an accident. The first thing that people do is come out and catch their collars, and they really don't know what to do next. They get into a fight, ask each other for money. This is damage, that damage has happened, whatever it is, right? Why do people think the first move after you get into an accident is an aggressive one where you have to catch each other's collars? Like in other countries when we travel, it looks like a very peaceful settlement.
Yeah.
Why does that happen in India?
No, I think I have gone through it personally, and I think most of us have gone through it. I think people are not aware of what are the right steps to take, and they are not very aware of how the system works in such a situation, right? They'll have a lot of doubts. Should I go to the police station? Will my insurance cover this? How will I establish it's his fault, my fault,
Correct.
what it is, right? And if it's anyone's fault, establish whose insurance will kick in. Is my insurance, or should I claim his insurance? So people have a lot of doubts. Plus, they also are not aware of what are their coverages. So even if they claim, and even the insurance company accepts the claim, will they cover 100%? Am I covered for this scenario? All of so these are so many doubts in people's mind. I think the shortcut they take is, let's jump into the fight, let's grab the money as much as possible on the ground. Like you said, I think few of the countries have solved it. I know that in Dubai, there is a process to establish whose fault it is, right?
Right.
And then then that person's insurance kicks in for the claim.
Right.
In US also, there's a process to figure out that you can actually, if I met an accident, I can raise a claim on third party, that other person's insurance, and then his insurance kicks in to get the claim, right? So there's a process to do this, and people are decently aware. I think in India, the problem is somewhere that people are not fully aware that how will this situation pan out, and try to get the quick money out there on the spot.
I think that is what it is. It's sort of because the reputation of insurances, of payouts being quick and fair is hardly there.
Yeah.
And so, and also I think, the blame game. One wants to make sure that one is on the right or one is on the wrong, and the anger of getting into an accident, that delay, I think that's what all the violence and, and trying to solve the problem by quickly taking money from one another is there.
Yeah.
But I think we should understand, I think one thing they don't understand is if you have insurance,
Yeah.
no matter whose fault it is or how much argument you have and who accepts each other's faults or who you bash up, unfortunately, that's not going to affect the insurance process. So it's just a waste of time, energy, and more dangerous to each other. It's that I have understood over a period of time, and it's important that we explain that to the vehicle owners.
Yeah.
But isn't insurance supposed to do that? Isn't insurance supposed to give you peace of mind? That when you have insurance, no matter whose fault it is for the company and the police to figure out, not you and the person you've got into an accident with. Isn't that what insurance is all about?
Yeah, yes, exactly. So I think this is a situation where the insurance kicks in. In India, primarily there are two types of coverage. It's very important to understand this concept, right?
Correct.
There are two kinds of coverages. Whenever you buy an insurance, you have a coverage which covers the third party, right? So if you are using a car and if you hit someone, like a pedestrian, for example, you're liable for that loss, right? And if you don't have an insurance, then it's tricky, very tricky actually. So the third party component covers that situation where the pedestrian or the third party is covered, or his or her losses are covered. And the second component is the own damage, which is where your own loss because of the damage of the car or the accidental claim and all is covered, right? So these are the two coverages. And the third party coverage is what triggers when there is a accident on the road, and if you hit someone, then that person is also covered under it.
So the third party, correct me if I'm wrong, the third party insurance is mandatory by the government, correct? So you have to take that.
Yes.
I've always wondered only one thing, is how does the third party benefit by your insurance? Suppose you hit a pedestrian You know, it's always a argument and a debate, and you have to take them to the hospital and, you know, make sure you, with other people jumping in to say it is your fault because your vehicle is bigger, all that thing happens. But how does a third party benefit from this insurance that you have taken?
Yeah, I'll cover one more aspect into this. One is like if I'm using a car and if I hit someone, I think the right thing to do is obviously help that person out first, right?
Correct.
So that's the most important part,
Correct.
right? There's a life in danger, and you have to make sure that you either take that person to hospital and figure out like what has happened, right? In some sense, that is very important. Also, another aspect is you can proactively go to the police and report that instance. Also, if you can reach out to the insurance company as soon as possible that this has happened, right? And they can proactively take up the right methods, right? So this is one component. But what happens with someone who meet an accident, right? If I'm a pedestrian, I'm on the road. Let me imagine it for myself, for that matter. If I'm hit by someone, bad luck, but it happens in India that people can run also. They'll hit me with their car and they'll run away, right? That also happens. If it is possible right away, right there, you can click photo or you can figure out note the vehicle number in some sense if it's possible. But if it's not possible and you are stranded and there's no one to help or the other folks around are helping you out, the next step is obviously to figure out your health first, right? Figure out your injuries and all. Then you have to report it to the police, right? That this has happened. Obviously now in India, you can capture, there are a lot of traffic cameras and all, you can capture who hit you, right? In some sense. So if that happens, is one, like you have to report an FIR first, and post that, the way this process works in India, that you have to go to the court. So there's a dedicated court for this scenario, which is called MACT, Motor Accident Claims Tribunal.
MACT.
MACT. So that you have to report it out there. I'm just imagining the worst case scenario. If I'm that person, I'm hit and I'm no more altogether, then your family has to do this stuff, right? So they have to go to MACT. They'll find out which car has hit you. They'll report this incident to the insurance company. They'll get to know about this. They have to represent the owner of the vehicle over there and have to settle the amount to the victim in this case. So that is how the process works. It takes some time, but obviously this is the right way to
Right way to do it. So, I mean, even though it's not concerned to the, as insurance company, we're just trying to say this as a public awareness that if you're unfortunately in the receiving end of a accident, then you have these processes to do to get some relief financially from the insurance company. That's great to know. So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I recently remember one of the incidents which happened. So in our setup only recently, I visited one of these courts, right, and how the process works, just to understand how can we make it better. What can we bring in as efficiency so that the victims or even the car owners or the vehicle owners for that matter get faster settlement, right? So I went through it. Usually when you are in office, you don't imagine these scenarios very closely, right? How will things go out there, right? And you're not very practical about them. Unfortunately, one of the incidents which happened out there was that one of our insured car hit an army man on the road.
Oh God.
And he kind of lost one of the leg. And I was there. That person was representing, there were advocates, there was an insurance company. What maybe people have to realize is that while you are buying insurance, one component obviously you are taking it for your own vehicle or the car or the damages, but the bigger component is this. It's not very frequent. You obviously don't hit anyone that frequently. It's not your intention. We understand, right? It's not your intention, but this is a freak incident which can happen any day, right? What you're buying insurance is for that scenario, for that person to get the benefit. So if you're not buying an insurance, those pedestrians, those victims on the roads are actually not covered. And if they are like single breadwinner in the family, their family is big time stranded because they don't have anyone. And so this is one which is important part of like why are you buying insurance. When you're not buying, then obviously all these things is very tricky for you as an individual or car owner, right? Because it's an illegal offense that if you're not buying insurance and plying the car on the road, and if you hit someone, you will be imprisoned. Because
so that brings me to the next question. You know, I have statistics here which says only about 30% of vehicle owners actually insure their vehicles, cars, and I want to know that I know for sure that when you buy a new car, you have to insure,
Yeah.
at least a third-party insurance. Why do Indians not insure, and why is this a 30%? How is that relevant statistics?
Yeah, it's 30% for cars, and for two-wheelers, it's almost 50% plus. So half of the two-wheelers in India are not insured. I think it gets applied to a lot of insurance products, I think, or maybe financial products for that matter. I think people in India, I think people are very risk friendly in some sense, and they believe financial products are supposed to give us returns. So they see it like an investment, right? So if I'm buying an insurance policy for my car, I'm paying, let's say, a 8-10K for my insurance, which is a mid-segment car, right? Like a Baleno or an i20 car will have like a 8 to 10K insurance premium. I have in mind that how will I get this money back, right? And they're not thinking of why you are buying insurance. It's not for investment. It is to protect you against a freak incident that can happen any day. That freak incident can be if you're hitting someone. It can be like if your vehicle is getting stolen altogether, right? That'll be like a 10 to 15 lakh loss, financial loss for you, right? All these things can happen. It happens, right?
Yeah, or if your car is parked, somebody else hits it.
Yeah.
Or there is a coconut that falls in your car, for instance, which we've seen happen a lot in Chennai, or any other such damage.
Yeah, so any of these damages, obviously there'll be a loss of, like if there's a very basic accident, if you can imagine, right? If I meet someone with an accident on the road, I think my bumper will go, my headlight will go, all these things will happen, right? It's very average scenario. Even in that case, for a very mid-segment car also, you will end, the garage bill will be almost 25-30K.
Wow.
Right? So I think people believe that, okay, I have to get this money back instead of imagining that I'm supposed to cover myself against that incident.
Correct. So I think for the clarity of the fact that if insurance is mandatory, then how is only 30% insured? So what we are trying to say is the new vehicles, when you buy them, you have to buy the insurance for a year.
Yes.
But when subsequently it is sold, the new owner could say, I have 3 months left in the insurance, and after that not choose to renew.
Yeah.
And that happens more. That's how people have vehicles that are not insured. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. So when you're buying a brand new car, you're supposed to buy insurance because that's how you get the registration done. And subsequently, you have to buy a policy every year.
Yeah.
So every year when you are at that decision box, right, you have to find out whether I buy an insurance or not. People end up dropping off. They don't buy insurance, and that's how it works. So if maybe a 5-6 year old car owner, maybe almost 15-20% of them are not even having insurance. And even when the car gets older, they don't buy insurance at all.
Correct.
But one thing which I wanted to emphasize again is that, like I said, there are two components, right? It is okay that you can manage your finances with respect to car damage and all. While again there's a freak incident, like I said, the whole car can get stolen, and that's a very like a big size scenario. But what you're buying insurance again for is that third party scenario as well, right? You have to buy insurance which is mandated by law, and you have to buy it for that.
So even if you have a second hand car and you have chosen not to renew your insurance and you haven't got a third party insurance, then you're liable to have a criminal case against you.
Exactly. That's
that's dangerous. I don't think people understand the repercussion of that.
Yeah, if you are not having an insurance with the third party component, which is mandated by law, and if you end up hitting someone, first of all, actually this is what police checks.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, this is what the cop checks, right? So I'm sure people must be wondering that when you are on the road, why is the cop checking my insurance policy? You check my registration, you check my license, that's okay. Why are you checking my insurance policy?
Correct.
So this is the component which the cop is checking whether you have it or not, because it's mandated.
Third party insurance.
Yeah, the third party component of it. And when you have, like, if you don't have that, while he can fine you for that, but if you meet an accident, if you hit someone, then that's illegal, right? And you have to go to jail for that. Right?
Yeah, that's something very important for all the vehicle owners to know.
Yeah.
So I know that third party is compulsory, but own damage, OD.
Yeah.
Why is that not popular among vehicle or car owners?
So
because you're basically protecting your car, like you said earlier. You've answered it by saying that you're looking at it as an investment and not get it back, and you eloquently expressed the fact that even a small accident can cost you 20,000-30,000 rupees, whereas your insurance cover is barely 10,000.
Yeah.
So it's more logical than anything else.
Correct.
But why do the people still not take it?
Yeah, I'll tell you one of the things which I got when I got introduced to the insurance world. I found that this product is one of the most value for money product, like the OD component, right? The simple maths itself is that if I'm buying even like for my average car, if I'm paying like 8-10K, even if there's a single claim, which is an average scenario, which can happen any day, right? You are getting like 30-40K worth of coverage right away.
Correct.
Right now, right? You can do a lot with OD coverage, right? The own damage coverage, because that is for your own car insurance, right? And it's a big value for money product, right? So it covers almost every scenario, like even the act of God for that matter, right? Which we keep saying.
Yeah.
So if you meet an accident because with regular accident on the road, if you have parked your car and someone hits, right? You tell me whether it will be covered or not. Do you think it will be covered if the car parked, someone else hit it? Will it cover in
I
my
think
insurance?
it should be covered.
Yeah, so that scenario is also covered, right? If your car is parked and like you said, even if a coconut falls on top of it and it damages my windshield, that scenario is also covered. People are confused whether if I'm not driving the car, whether this scenario will be covered or not, right?
Right.
So that too is covered, right? It covers all natural calamities. It covers earthquake, it covers cyclone, it covers flooding, every kind of scenario. It even covers the man-made scenarios also, like riots.
Riots.
If my car is out there parked on road and there's a riots going on and someone hits my car, breaks, damages it completely, that scenario is also covered. So almost most of the scenarios that you can imagine is covered when you buy an OD component of the car, right? Like I said, theft anyways is one big scenario. If you are using
So I think the problem is because the name is very confusing. When you say OD, it says own damage. So people are under the impression that even if I break it only, will it be covered? So I think we should look at generalizing and explaining what that OD actually means. Because like you said, it's not OD if my friend damages the car, technically speaking, but it is covered in insurance, is what you're saying.
Yeah, correct.
Provided the friend has a valid license, right?
Yes. So one of the edge scenario, like you're mentioning, is that even if my car is being used by my friend or someone in the family,
Right.
and they have a valid license, and even if they meet an accident, it can happen. That is also covered.
Very
so
good.
It doesn't depend on who is the driver till they have a valid driving license to drive a car. My car is covered.
So it's a no-brainer. I mean, I look at the benefit of what you're saying, and in terms of insurance, it just looks like a very sensible and a very smart thing to do to take the insurance.
Yeah.
But why do people in India still believe that it's just a token pain in the backside for us to take insurance because it never gets paid out and it's useless?
Yeah.
That's generally the opinion that is still there.
Yeah.
What do we have to tell them?
No, I think one of the perception people have in mind is that whether I'll get a claim also, right? And what's the process? How will I go through it, right? And is it clear or not, right? So I think that's one perception. I think the problem is on both sides in some sense. If I have to see it from an insurance sector point of view, insurance industry altogether, how insurance works for the insurance company is that you are paying commission to sell the product and you are getting claims, right? So you have to process the claim. Now, if I'm squeezed too much on the commission side, I'll try to do some corner cutting in the claim side, right?
Correct.
And I'll try to figure out how I can reject a claim or something, right?
Right.
So these kind of challenges are there, right? Because if you're squeezed too much on the commission side, you figure out how to save money, right? So this is the problem in the insurance industry side to some extent, right? I'm not saying everyone does that,
Of course.
but they've been this is the kind of perception people have built at least, right? So this is one side. On the customer side also, there are some edge scenarios, right? So one, like if I have to say, if you are doing drunk driving, right?
Okay.
So so that scenario is not covered.
Not
because
covered.
it's illegal
So,
driving.
Yeah.
Let go of insurance. You should not do that.
Correct.
Irrespective, right? So, but that is not covered in insurance, right? One more scenario, if you can imagine, is that if I have a personal car, like I've got my personal car, which is usually you get a white plate number.
Correct.
Number plate for that, right? If I'm using it for cabs or taxi purpose, which is yellow plate, right? So that scenario is not covered, right? If you are using personal car for making money and you're using it like a cab, that scenario will not be covered, right?
So if while taking the insurance, if you're not living up to the declarations you have made to the insurance company, then it's not covered.
Yeah, so the insurance comes, so like for a white plate, there's a separate insurance.
Correct.
For a commercial plate, it's a
plate.
different insurance.
Understood.
So if you're taking a white plate insurance for your personal car, but you're using it for commercial purposes, it is not covered. And obviously, if you have lapsed your policy, right? If my due date was tomorrow and I missed out for a month or so and you are claiming, that's not covered.
Impossible to forget the lapse statement. I get so many reminders from people, like it's almost like the end of the world. How do people forget that? I mean, I don't understand how they don't, or why they don't renew.
Yeah, I think again the same thing that people somehow have that, like whether insurance will cover that aspect or not. And I think one of the challenges when you get chased by multiple agents or any, like whoever the
Yeah.
individuals are to reach out to you in terms of buying insurance, I think people also get confused in some sense. What are the coverages? What are they pitching? All of those things, right? The product is relatively straightforward. And again, like I said, someone has to tell them that this is your choice and you can decide these components and buy it.
So how do you decide? I mean, if somebody comes and says buy this insurance and this has got so many benefits, what is the kind of decision I should take? How do I decide which one to take and buy?
Yeah, so if I have to give my thumb rule in some sense that how will it work, I think there are 4 or 5 components which you need to keep in mind when you are buying. One is when you are deciding to buy a car insurance, one is IDV, right? You have NCB, which you have to take care of. You have to figure out what add-ons, and you have to.
So you're speaking Greek to me. You explained what IDV and IBC and ICU or all that you said. What does it actually mean?
No, my bad. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll clarify. So, okay, sorry, I'll maybe let me quickly repeat that. Or maybe let me give you some background and then get back to this point, right?
Okay.
So, okay, so if I have to buy, like I'm calling myself to some extent an expert in auto insurance. So if I have to buy an insurance for my car, or if I have to buy it for my friend, right, for that matter. So what I'll do is whenever you select the car insurance, you have to select the value of the car which you are buying it for, right?
Correct.
So that's a technical term called IDV, insured declared value.
Insure declared value.
Insured declared value, right?
So, and people actually try to act a little funny by declaring the value lesser than it so that they can get a lesser charge for insurance. Am I right? I've heard of this scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so insured declared value is like a sum insured which you're buying your insurance for. So if your vehicle gets stolen, or if your car gets totally damaged, right, it's beyond repair now, so you will get this money, right? Obviously, if you have higher vehicle value declared, then the premium will be higher. So yeah, people do that if I select lower, but obviously then the problem is that if there will be a freak incident which will happen because of which you are buying insurance,
right,
you'll not get the right value, right, and you will lose out that amount, right? So it's very important to select the right value of the vehicle. The other aspect of it, which comes into picture when you're looking to buy insurance from, let's say, you have multiple places to go and buy insurance from, right? That sometime it happens that even the agents or the person who is advising you may end up reducing your vehicle value to show you a lower premium. And if you're not aware of that, what value I'm buying for, it's very tricky. Then you'll obviously are underinsured in some sense, right?
Correct.
So it's very important to select the right value. My thumb rule for selecting the right IDV is that tomorrow if I have to sell my car, what is the value I'm looking for is the right value, right? So you just apply that logic.
Oh.
So if I have let's say a 3-year-old some car and I'm looking to sell it at 8-9 lakh, if tomorrow if I have to go out and sell that car, if I'm looking for 8 lakh value, that should be my coverage because I'll have that peace of mind.
Correct.
If the car gets stolen, right?
Correct.
Okay, this is my value of the car.
That's the value.
So that's one thumb rule which you can apply, right, in some sense. There is some guidance in terms of selecting it as well, that the guidance in terms of the brand new car and then you depreciate some value, right? But I think this is one good thumb rule to apply. This is one aspect. The second, like a very good aspect, is to select the right no claim bonus, NCB, right? So
that is what NCB stands for, no claim bonus.
No claim bonus, right? So if you don't meet an accident or you don't claim for a year, you get 20% discount on your own damage premium.
Oh.
And every year, this keeps getting added. So 2 year, 25%. And this goes till 50% after 5 years. So you can get your own damage cover at half a cost if you don't claim for 5 years. And you get that benefit. What people may miss out on that they are not applying this no claim bonus.
Correct.
Right? So you select the right value of your car.
Yeah, nobody knows this, when insurance, it's very important for us to know this.
Yep. So, and this is a big value, right? Like I'm saying, if you are buying a policy from 8-10K, you are saving, like you can potentially save like 4-5K out of it.
Yeah, even if you're buying a high-end car, which is say 1.5 crores or whatever it is, can you imagine the cost saving on something which is a no claim?
Yeah, so this is that second component. The third component is the right add-ons. So there are few exclusions or few scenarios which are not covered in insurance to some extent.
Okay.
So these add-ons help you to cover those scenarios also. Then the next aspect is to figure out the right premium also, right? So everyone is selling at different price. You can find out what is the right premium for you. And the last, and I think not the least, is choose the right insurance company who settles claims faster. Right?
Correct.
So if you think of these 4 or 5 things, you are sorted.
So one point that I want to make is that it's not mandated by the government, and nor is it necessary for you to buy insurance only from the guy who's selling you the car or from the agents. You can buy insurance from outside. You can do the research before and buy the insurance, which is still valid, right?
Yeah, I would rather, yes, 100%. So when you are buying a brand new car, typically you end up buying insurance from there, and it's not at all important to buy from there. Rather, if I have to personally suggest someone, you should look out for insurance outside. You should look out for best deal. The things which I said, right? Look out for the right value, figure out the no claim bonus. One good thing around no claim bonus is, and this is again another aspect people are not aware. Let's say if I've been using my car, which is like my first car for that matter. Let's say it's a Swift, right? And I purchased a Swift. I was using it for 6-7 years and I haven't made a claim over there. So I have gained 50% no claim bonus on that car, right?
Right.
Because I haven't made a claim. And let's say now I'm letting go of that car.
Right.
I'm buying a brand new car.
Correct.
It can be a Fortuner or something, right? I can carry forward this NCB and apply it on the new car.
Even if it is of a higher value.
Yeah. So you can literally, when you are buying a new car, you can carry forward this NCB and apply it over there.
So let us give an example for people to understand. Now let us say I bought a car which is worth 20 lakhs.
Yeah.
Typically, how much is a good coverage for a 20 lakh car?
So you're saying premium, how
Yeah,
much will be the premium for
yeah.
that? So 20 lakh car will be roughly around 30K.
30,000, right?
Yeah.
So now imagine I'm using that car for about 5 years or
Yeah.
4 years and I have no claim and it's come to 50%.
Yeah.
So now, if I buy the same car, I'm going to get a 15,000 rupees discount on it.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yes.
But if I choose to buy a 1 crore car,
Yeah.
in which the premium now will probably become 30,000, sorry, 1
Will be
lakh?
almost 1 lakh plus, yes.
1 lakh plus. But if I apply my no claim bonus to that, then that comes to me for 50,000. Am I right?
Yes.
So you get to save 50,000 on a 1 crore car, which means you can buy an upper version of that car or get a sunroof or something like that for free.
Yeah, yes, correct, you're right. So just one technical part to it, like I said, there's own damage and the third party component. So this, what you're saying is applicable for own damage.
Correct.
The maths and the numbers are exactly the same. What you're saying is right. And because I save that much amount, right, I can literally buy the next variant. I can consider the next variant.
Next variant.
Yeah.
And also, if the premium is much lesser because there are no agents involved, and there are companies like ACKO, even if I say so myself, which honor the claims very quickly, then you're saving on that as well.
Yeah.
Which means that too can be added on to your upgrading.
Yes. I think for the brand new car, like we were discussing, that you can buy it from the dealer. There's no issue. You can buy it from there as well. But you have to gauge those 4 or 5 aspects. Like I said, you have to figure out what is the right premium. Typically, the problem, if I can imagine, is that for the dealer side, because they are supposed to charge commission, right? Because they're selling out there, right?
Correct.
So that commission component is coming out from your insurance premium, right?
Right.
Now, if I have to compare that same example, if I'm buying a 20 lakh car and the insurance premium which ACKO can offer is around 30,000, you may get the same premium on dealer potentially, not applicable for 100% of the cases, is somewhere around maybe 60K, 70K or maybe more.
Wow.
Right? So you are literally saving 30, 40K out there for that combination of the car which you are buying.
I think this also works when your car goes for a damage or repair.
Yeah.
Because then also the commissions are added on behalf of the, am I right?
No, okay, so not exactly. The way it works is, let's say if I'm a dealer, I'll have a service center also, right?
Correct.
So what is the pain point of the insurance company in this scenario, right? So in such a scenario, the dealer is anyways charging commission to sell the product.
Correct.
So that is included in your insurance premium.
Right.
So that's one. If you make a claim, that vehicle also goes to that dealer service center.
Exactly.
Right? And that money also goes into his pocket. Right? So that's
Right.
double
That's what I'm
whammy for
saying.
both insurance company and the customer, that
Because
both the
the-
money is going to his pocket.
And
He
the
has
dealer
to
is
figure it
making-
out from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually save a lot of money out there. And then, like you said, right, you can buy a sunroof out of it,
Yeah.
right? If you're considering, if your wife is telling you, no, I want sunroof, and you're
Yeah.
not able to make it because you don't have that extra 30, 40K,
Yeah.
you can make it from here.
Very nice. So finally, to sum it up, if I were to ask you about a few things that the Indian public should know about insurance as we go, what will those things be?
Yeah, I think there are two things which I wanted to count in here. One is, like we touched upon, add-ons is one component, right? People are not aware of it. They believe that, okay, the OD means, okay, my car will be covered, but they're not clear on how much and
Exactly.
what amount will I get, right? So one aspect is that let me take a real example, what can happen, right? If I'm on the road and I meet an accident and my, let's say, a part of car, bumper, headlights are damaged, right? Usually the bill will be around 30K or so, right? 2-3 parts will get replaced. And in such a scenario, if you have taken a standard coverage, right, a basic coverage without any add-on or so, so every part of the car depreciates with time, right? So you'll not get 100% coverage for that. So your bill is 30K, you'll not get 30K. There's a depreciation which is applied, and typically this ranges, it varies on multiple factors, but typically in range of 25-30%, which means I have to pay somewhere around 8 to 10K from my pocket.
Which is why I think everybody catches each other's collar when the accident happens.
Yes.
कि भैया वो depreciation का पैसा तो मिल जाए.
Correct, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So to cover this, there's a very basic add-on called zero depreciation. As the name
Zero
suggests, it
depreciation,
makes the depreciation zero. It's called nil depreciation, or even bumper to bumper cover in the market,
Nice.
like in some manner. So if you buy that, then you need not to pay that depreciation from your own pocket, and you get almost the same amount of the bill altogether.
Right.
So this is one. I think one more scenario which I think is good to bring out is what happened in Chennai also to some extent. So there's a coverage called engine protection, right? So we have to understand that insurance covers impact or damage. It doesn't cover the wear and tear or the maintenance of the car, right? So it covers when there's an unforeseen situation, right? Where your car meets some damage or impact, and then it gets covered, right? So typically flooding is covered. So if the vehicle gets flooded and gets damaged because of the flooding, hit by it, then it's covered, right? All those aspects which are, all the parts which are damaged are covered. But there's one specific scenario which is very gray in the market, and it's not very clear in people's mind also, that if the water gushes into your engine and stops working, right? So there is no impact as such. There is no impactful damage to the engine, but the engine has stopped working, right?
Yeah.
So this is not covered in your typical standard insurance, right? In such a scenario, you can buy Engine Protect, right? So Engine Protect add-on covers this specific scenario. Other than that, there are 2-3 more scenarios it covers, but this is one which people end up facing, and they are confused that why are you not covering this scenario, right? It's flooding, right? So that's one scenario which I think people should know. And while there are a few more add-ons, but I'll suggest that people should go through it and see if it's valuable. Like I said, Engine Protect, you can take those calls. It's your choice, right? If you are staying in, let's say, a city which has, which is flood prone to some extent, like Chennai, or Mumbai, right?
Yeah.
So you should go for it. There's one more add-on which I think is useful to some extent. Let me take example of Delhi, right? So Delhi is theft capital and theft capital of India. Right?
Really, very unfortunate.
So a lot of vehicles get stolen in Delhi, right? And it's almost 50% contributor of the number of thefts which happen in India.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So so what happens when what happens in a case of your vehicle getting stolen, right? So like I said, the value of the car depreciates, right? And you have selected the IDV, the vehicle value, right? So you'll get that value.
Yeah.
But if I have purchased a car which is 20 lakh, I've paid for road tax, registration, and few other aspects, so it's 22 lakh potentially, right? So if I'm buying a 22 lakh car, imagine this: if I purchase a 22 lakh car, let me paint two scenarios. One is I just taken it out of the showroom. Within a day, it's stolen. What will happen? What will I get?
You'll get 50% of that, or the depreciation kicks in as it is. Am I right?
Yeah, so there will be a depreciation which kicks in, right? And it goes up with year, right? So in year one itself, you will get 5% depreciated.
5%?
Which is small. But the problem is, my car is 20 lakh, 5% means 1 lakh.
1 lakh.
So I'll get 19, but I've
I've
paid
spent
3 lakh.
24,
Yeah, I've paid 22, 24 to kind of get that car on road.
Correct.
Right? That's the on-road price, right? That's the value of the car actually. So if I have to again buy that same car, next day, I have to figure out 3 lakh or 4 lakh again, right?
Correct.
So to cover this depreciation, and like while for brand new car, this value is smaller. Once the car gets slightly older,
Yeah, suppose it's
the
2
value
years
is
old.
higher.
Yeah.
So the value is, let's say the depreciation is 20 or 30% in that case. So I have to end up paying like 7-8 lakh from my pocket
Exactly.
to get the same car again.
That is more relevant. Yeah.
So in that case, there's a add-on called invoice cover, which covers the invoice value, not just the depreciated
Understood.
value. So these are few add-ons which I think are logical. People should go through that, what is more useful for them, valuable for them, and take their informed choice of that this is the
Yeah,
cover
so it
I'm
makes
taking.
more sense for people in Delhi, where the theft rate is higher, to take a invoice coverage.
Yes, and you figure out, like I'll take one more example. If I'm a very heavy highway user, there's a chance of the size of the accident will be big.
Correct.
And the car may be beyond repair, right? So in that case also, this coverage will be very, very useful, right, in some sense. Another, I think, important aspect which again I think people should know is whenever you meet an accident, right, typically we end up going to the garage directly, right? There are 2-3 challenges which people end up facing. One is, because the garage is initiating the claim,
Right.
in certain scenario, there's less transparency also, right? That what is happening with my car or so. That's one. Second is, like we discussed, that because there's something which will go out of your pocket also, and whatever be the damage bill is going into that service center's pocket. So somewhere they are slightly more incentivized to create a larger bill.
Understood.
And that portion is also hitting your pocket, right?
Correct.
That's one component. And another challenge is obviously, are they sorted with the process with the insurance company?
Right.
Will they end up taking their own sweet time, right? So the best thing to do is to avoid any of these hassles is to reach out to the insurance company directly. So if you meet an accident, you reach out to the insurance company.
Oh, you're basically saying that in case of an unfortunate incident, the first thing you do
Yeah.
is reach out to the insurance, not
Yes.
not the last thing.
Yeah.
The first thing you should do is reach out to the insurance
Correct.
company. Okay.
So before even taking it to the garage or so, you reach out to the insurance
That's
company.
news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And few of the companies like ACKO for that matter, we also offer pickup and drop. So what it
Right.
means is, if you have met an accident, you have called us up, right? That, or you have raised a claim on the app, we'll come and pick up your car.
Nice.
We'll take it to the garage, get it fixed, and drop it back to you.
And you get a real-time update on the app.
Yes, and you can check what's the update of where is the claim, what's happening on our app
Very
as
nice.
well, right? So I think this is very useful. People don't know that they can actually reach out to the insurance company. I think the challenge has been that because the way insurance is being sold in India also,
Right.
no one introduces what are the coverages,
Correct.
which insurance company have you purchased it from, what brand have I sold you, what to do at the time of claim.
Correct.
None of it is explained to the user.
In fact, this has been an eye-opener for me, for somebody who was supposed to be the man of the world. A lot of things that you told me this, in this conversation, I did not know. So, typically after an accident or a mishap, one goes directly to the dealer, sorts it out, then only one makes a call to the insurance agent and all that. So, this has been a very, very informative. Thank you so very much. I think it's a lovely thing that we're doing here right now. I mean, apart from ACKO, but just to make the public aware of the pitfalls and the benefits of this sector is very, very important. And I'm really happy that you guys are doing this.
No, I'm really happy, and like sharing these information or valuable inputs for our users to kind of go through how they should buy, I think is useful for them for sure. And like I said, there are, it's very important to have insurance, that's one part of it. But like I said, understanding insurance is equally important, so that you're not in some sense cheated or not paying too much.
Or your
for that
expectations
same
are
coverage.
managed.
Right, yes.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. It was awesome talking to you.
Same here.
Likewise.